This is a 13-year-old murderer. His confession in court made jurors curse out loud.
만으로 14살 안 되면 사람 죽여도 감옥 안 간다던데. 그거 진짜예요?
Even the most composed judge was left completely speechless, but there was nothing they could do to this kid, because South Korea has a juvenile law that states children under 14 who commit murder do not face criminal charges. At most, they serve 2 years in a juvenile detention facility. After the first hearing, the killer's mother finally showed up, just like her son. She showed zero remorse. She came for one reason only, to find out how long her son would be held. If it weren't for that, she wouldn't have bothered at all.
피해자 가족과는 만나보셨습니까?
아니요.
사과부터 하세요.
The case quickly became a national story. The victim was only 8 years old. He had no connection to the killer whatsoever, yet he was brutally murdered and dismembered. Part of his remains were left on a rooftop. The rest were thrown out like trash. In the 6 hours after disposing of the body, the killer went out and walked around the streets. When he got tired, he strolled into a police station. He pulled out the axe he had used to dismember the body and turned himself in, because it was a voluntary surrender. Police didn't dig any deeper. They handed the case directly to the courts. Along with the case came enormous public pressure. The court was eager to close it fast and quiet the outrage, but the judge assigned to this case had a reputation for being tough.
저는 소년범을 혐오합니다.
She never sympathized with juvenile offenders. Nearly every case that came before her ended with the maximum sentence, no matter how much the defendant begged for mercy. This case was no different, but right at the start of the hearing, the killer introduced a new version of events. He claimed that on the day of the incident, the 8-year-old boy had approached him to borrow his phone to call his mom. He said he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He regularly experienced auditory hallucinations. That day, even after taking his medication, the symptoms hadn't let up. His phone was dead, so he brought the boy back to his place. He said he just wanted to let the kid make the call before sending him home. But then the boy started feeling too loud to him, and then he snapped. At that point, the killer actually smiled. He said the boy was stupid for thinking he could hide under the bed. It didn't work at all. This judge specializes in juvenile criminal cases, and she has a special gift. One glance at a psychiatric evaluation report, and she can tell whether the defendant is faking. The teenager sitting before her today murdered an 8-year-old boy, then dismembered the body and dumped it. He figured that since he was under 14, he couldn't be held criminally responsible, so he forged a psychiatric diagnosis, hoping to play the mental illness card and win the judge's sympathy, and dodge a sentence in juvenile detention. But he picked the wrong judge to fool. She took one look at the report and knew something was off, because the condition he'd been diagnosed with makes it impossible to maintain focus for any extended period of time. But dismembering a body and cleaning up a crime scene, that takes an enormous amount of sustained concentration. No one with that condition could actually pull that off. As the judge dug deeper into the case, the boy started to sweat.
이 사건에 숨겨진 제3의 인물.
The judge pulled the neighborhood security footage, and what she found was shocking. The person who brought the victim home that day wasn't the boy at all. It was a girl, because the two were dressed similarly.
걔는 아니야! 걔는 아무 상관도 없어! 내가 지금 분명히 말한다! 걔는 아무 상관도 없어! 아니야!
The boy completely lost it. He even tried to grab a chair and swing it at someone, but no matter how badly he acted out, the judge wasn't backing down. She dug through his call records and found a girl named Jess. The two had called each other multiple times right around the time of the murder. That's when it hit the judge. This boy was almost certainly taking the fall for someone else. She filed a request with her superiors to have Jess arrested, but they pushed back, worried that moving forward would expose how badly the police had botched the original investigation and invite a PR nightmare. Request denied. The judge didn't wait around. The moment she found out Jess was at an internet cafe, she went alone to bring her in, but Jess could tell something was wrong and bolted. The two of them tore through the streets in a full-on chase until the judge finally cornered Jess in an alley. Once Jess was brought in, the judge finally learned her story. Jess's parents had been running a business overseas for years, completely checked out of her life. They just hired her a high-powered attorney to handle anything legal that came up. During questioning, Jess didn't say a word, sat there looking quiet and harmless. She refused to confess.
엘리베이터 같이 탄 것도 제가 되나요?